Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of All About Sports, the podcast. I'm Aniket here and I have Shobham and Mazhar, who you already know. These are our regular co-hosts, but not today. Not today. Today, there is a bit of a role reversal. They are just guests. But at this point, I would also like to introduce a special guest for the podcast, Karthik Khanna. Karthik is a co-founder of the Starter Labs. He's also a footballer at Bombay Gymkhana and from the threads he's sporting, yes, okay, he's a Liverpool supporter. All right, I can see Maz in his retro Shubham showing off the badge. So as you can tell, we are at the cusp of a very important game at the top of the Premier League table. Liverpool are going to host Manchester United. Manchester United are 3 points ahead. Surprisingly, they're 3 points ahead of the defending
And we'll be six
champions.
ahead soon.
This is the boisterous spirit I was going for. This is what I'm looking forward to.
Hey,
Karthik,
one minute, hold on, one minute, hold on, one minute, hold on. Karu showed his jersey. We showed our jersey. You show your jersey also, na please.
let's go. Let's go. Bottom half FC. Let's go. I I have no qualms about the team I support. You know this.
Yeah. Well, it's hard enough to be an Arsenal fan in the post 2010s. So,
It's okay. It's okay.
Everyone,
But
everyone on this chat kind of understands what it's like to be in the dumps. Because I've been a Liverpool fan when we were in the dumps. United,
We have been-
unfortunately, was in
we
the
have
dumps recently. Yeah, and Arsenal's, but they've been there for a while now. They've been there for a while.
I have nothing to say. I have absolutely no remarks
So
considering.
Karo says Arsenal have been in the dumps for a while. Says a person who just got out of the dumps last year. So calm down, okay? Relax.
Fair enough, but we're out of the dumps, right?
and how, man, and how? Like,
You
Yeah,
can't,
yeah.
you can't,
And
you
how?
can't,
can't even say anything.
I can't smack someone upwards, right? It always has to go downwards. But anyway, Caro, so Liverpool, with the side they have, 3 points behind United, who kind of get bashed every odd week about the team not being great. What are your thoughts on the season so far for Liverpool specifically? I mean,
I mean, uh, as a fan who I think I've peaked as a fan, right? I've seen Barcelona, I've seen the comebacks I've seen those games with Roma, City, Barca, the Champions League. So obviously, I expect a lot from the team. But I think this season the agenda is just try and finish as high up as possible. So the fact that we were first for a long time, I think it was surprising to a lot of Liverpool fans as well. The tone has become that people want to expect Liverpool to win, but they're not realizing that Liverpool aren't missing two first team regulars; they're technically missing three, right? So, I mean, you lose your centre backs, but you also have Fabinho, who's a world class holding midfielder who's playing out of position. So you can't expect him to have the same output, which is why, according to me, Liverpool
Aro,
are technically missing three
sorry
players.
to cut you off there. Jamie Carragher thinks he's the best centre back in the league at the moment. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying.
Okay. I think we still need to give credit to Fabinho for he's pulled off like a pretty solid role at centre back, but I think it's like let me give you an example, right? You have all of your United don't technically have right wingers besides Dan James, but let's say all of your right wing options are over, right? You just have Rashford and maybe one more player, so you use them on the left and the right or up top. But now you're suddenly expecting Bruno to give you an entire season at right wing. There's no way he's going to be as good as he is from the whole. He's a top class player, so he's still going to give you that output. But there's no way you can expect him to have the same output from right wing as he is from center attacking mid. And I feel midfield and center back is still further apart than like an attacking midfielder in the whole and an attacking midfielder from the wing. So I think Pool's not doing a bad job. I think it's fine. Unfortunately,
Hello, I want your
you put
thoughts
me on a
on-
chat with two United supporters at the worst possible time.
No, Karo, I want your thoughts on what Gary Neville said recently. He said United are 3 points ahead of
Yeah.
Liverpool's best team ever. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, on paper, best team ever, right? But when Van Dijk doesn't step onto a pitch for the entire season, if you want to call it the best team ever, still, please, Gary Neville, by all means, go for it. You're not fooling anybody.
this is what most Liverpool fans are saying, considering they're not at the top of the table right now, because it is at least I've not seen anyone use it as an excuse, which is a positive thing, right? You admit that there's an injury that leaves a gap in the team, and you're second. So as long as you're not using it as an excuse that we would have been on top had Van Dijk been playing. Uh, so we've had Karo's take on the season so far for Liverpool. Mazhar, Shobham, what are your thoughts on the United season so far? Because there has been a drubbing. There's been an absolute drubbing. There have been some very good games from United's end. The Ole out brigade resurfaces every 3 games. What are your thoughts on that?
Before Mazhar, before you express your thoughts on how United have performed, just for all our viewers and listeners, what Karu mentioned, the fact that they don't have Van Dijk and they don't have Gomez, their regular centre back pairing, the sort of impact it has had on Liverpool. I just came across these stats. So right now, after 17 games, Liverpool are 33 points, and at the same point last season, they were 49 points. They were first in the league. The season before that, they were 45 points, and the season before that, they were 31 points. The fact that these two players haven't been there, it has almost taken Liverpool back to where they were 4 seasons back. And very interestingly, when you talk about player influence, in terms of any player who's played for more than 45 minutes, what sort of influence they've had in the team. Van Dijk last season, 29 matches played. Every time he played, Liverpool won 27 of those matches, which is 93% influence. And Gomez, 14 matches played, 14 wins, so 100% influence. So I totally agree with you on the fact that when you lose a two centre-back pairings, I think that's the reason why there's this 16-point deficit, largely what we see this season. So that is in terms of Liverpool. And Mazhar, yeah, what's happening with United, man?
Coming to United now, I don't even know what to say. Honestly, even like Gary Neville just sent a video to Jamie Carragher of him laughing, right? We were at the top of the table. And when laughing, because when you watch us play, okay, fine, barring the last maybe 4 or 5 games where we've actually looked like a good team, like a top table side, it's been very helter-skelter, to be honest. It seemed like Solskjaer didn't know what he was doing. Everyone kept criticizing that we have no attacking tactics or play. We are very dependent on individual brilliance. I'm not saying no. But I mean, it all comes down to one man and one man only, Bruno. It's not Oli's at the wheel, it's Bruno's at the wheel. 100% for us. And it's crazy how, and that brings me back to what Caro said, right? One player can have such a big impact on a team that it changes and it does wondrous things. And you look at even Madrid, right? Ronaldo left, suddenly they really struggle and are still struggling. So it's hard to fill in those gaps and voids. So United went from a completely mediocre side to, well, the top. I would still say they're in the top three teams. I feel like City and Liverpool are way ahead. Still, sorry, Caro, but I mean, I know you guys are missing your key players, but tactically, at least Klopp's a genius. He'll figure out a way to win. I think Henderson has become this ultimate central midfielder. Genuinely, like I used to hate the guy. I still do. Of course, I do. But in terms of
very different reasons now.
yeah, but he's definitely like I remember when he joined the league, someone had termed him as a headless chicken. I think it was Steve McMahon or someone, and now he runs rings around everyone in midfield. So coming back to United, I think the main difference that I've seen with United and why, and everyone's saying that we've basically overachieved this season. This should have been United next season. They were saying that it would be a 3-year sort of model in place. That's why Solskjaer was given a 3-year contract. So he's already overachieving, but that's also because the other teams are underachieving. Let's face it. Defensively, we still have a lot of holes to plug in. I don't know why they are so scared of clearing the damn ball when the ball comes in from set plays and crosses. It's just so frustrating to watch. The first thing you do is panic, hit it away. We just don't touch it. No, I'm going to leave it. Literally, I remember that goal, the Leicester second goal, Vardy's equalizer. Maguire was right there. He sees the ball, but he leaves it thinking that, Wan-Bissaka or whoever was behind him, sorry, it was Fosu Mensah, I believe, will clear the ball away. Come on, dude. Just stand up, hit it away. That's your role. The ball comes into the box, hit it anywhere, just away from goal. So very frustrating defensively. Offensively, top side. On the counter, my God, we're breathtaking. It brings us back to Fergie days. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that.
But
For
there's something
me-
to be
It's not just on the counter though, right? They're just overall they've been attacking so much better. That's why I told you go ahead and say it, because in the past month, I think United's been a better side than most across Europe, right? I'm not going to say they're the best. They're never going to get that from me. But I think they're right up there, at least based on the past 30, 45 days. And it's not just counter attack, man. Like they have so much swagger on the ball. You have Pogba coming in, playing on the left, and he's having good games. Extremely silly with the way he gives the ball away still, and I think he will always be. But it just there's like a really strange confidence in the air, and like as an opposition fan, I've not seen that with United since Fergie left, right? Which is a positive. It's pretty solid.
But one more thing to mention, Caro, is United have failed when it's mattered the most, historically as well. Not in the league, but in in the other competitions, Europe especially, right? This United side still is not ready to compete, is what I believe. We've seen that we've been knocked out of 4 semi-finals now. That's exactly how many semi-finals Ferguson was knocked out of over his 26-year career. So when you look at that stat,
But in his first 6 years, he didn't make any semi-finals, so it doesn't count.
fair. But that time there was not so much money involved. The players weren't as great. Now we actually have what our defense is only like 200 plus million worth. So it's crazy when you think about
No,
it.
but to put into
No, but I
perspective
think
what
this game is a big test. Yeah,
what Mazhar,
the United
what-
game.
No, I'm just saying to put into perspective what Mazhar said about Bruno, and Caro also mentioned that United look very confident. To bring in some numbers, since the time Bruno made his debut last season, 1st Feb, 35 games played, and his goal contribution, that is goals and assists, is 34. He's the highest out of the top 10 that are there. There are 2 more United players, with Rashford having played 30 games and 17 goals assists, and Martial 27 games with 18 goals and assists. Now, what is interesting is the fact that other than the fact that Bruno is really performing very well and perhaps outperforming, he has made the attack better, because now you have Rashford and Martial also getting in these numbers, and largely I think it is because of Bruno. But what I find very interesting is the fact that in this top 10, there's just one Liverpool player. We have Salah with 29 matches played and only 22, not only 22 goals and assists is fantastic. But in the top 10, there's just one Liverpool player. So I want to pose a question to Caro, that do you feel your attack as compared to what it is last season, it is not performing the way it was performing?
I've really had this discussion with way too many people, so I'm going to try and concise it a little bit. But according to me, when Liverpool defend, it starts from the front, and when Liverpool attack, it starts from the back, right? So I haven't done this. I've not done this research. I don't have all the stats like you, Shubham, but I think if you notice,
Caro,
right,
believe me, no one does. Huh? This guy comes up with all these numbers every time, and we're just staring at him like, dude, how? Why?
We did do
Where?
all this prep
What?
work, man. Yeah. But but what I mean is, like, you've got your 2 centre backs, right? Who aren't, or rather, the team is not as confident in the centre backs, which means Liverpool's additional creators were their wing backs last season, but their wing backs don't have all that freedom. They suddenly have to stay back a lot more. I think if you've seen more than 5 or 6 Liverpool games, you'll notice how much deeper Trent and Robertson are starting from. Which is technically affecting the whole team, because they're not able to push up with that much freedom. You've again got your holding midfielder, which was either Henderson or Fabinho, who would be sitting and guarding that 2-man defense. They're also missing, which means just while moving forward, they don't have that incentive with all 11 players. All of a sudden, instead of 2 or 3 players manning defensive duties, you've got your back 4 manning defensive, but you've also got your midfield that's suddenly more cautious, thinking, okay, you know what, we've not got BVD to stop absolutely any human with the football at his feet. We've got Fabinho, who's probably going to get beaten. We've got Matip, who's probably going to pick up a red. Robo, Trent, again, Robo solid defensively, Trent not as much, right? So you can't rely on him completely. He's getting there, but he's still young. He's got a long way to go. So I think the defense being so weak has definitely affected the attack, and it's very evident, especially with teams that set up like a low block. So Liverpool don't have, like, how do you get past them? Because suddenly people have 2 things on their mind, which is attack and defense. So the entire team just kind of sets up in the box. You get all 11 players behind the box. and behind the ball, and Liverpool can't do anything anymore because they don't have that freedom. So I think that's what matters, and that's why Salah, if you notice, he's just somehow gotten the goals, right? You don't look at him running at defenders as much, beating defenders as much. It's just not happening because that fluidity in the movement, it's not there. So which is why when Liverpool landed up first, it was a shock, I think, to most Liverpool supporters that, we've just kind of landed up here. Yeah, I think it is what it is, and Klopp has to figure something and get by.
I really like what Caro just said. Since the focus for Liverpool has shifted from the front to the back, they've not looked the same team. Now think about United. Since the focus shifted up ahead with Bruno, they look like a completely different team. And Shobham, I mean, we spoke about how much of an impact one player could have in terms of BVD and Bruno. Bruno just won his fourth Player of the Month, if I'm not wrong, in a calendar year, which is the most.
Ronaldo and Henry's record.
Yeah.
So just that's absolutely massive. So nobody can discount the impact of one player on a side to begin with. And now, since we're on the topic of Bruno is linked heavily to penalties. All right. And another man who spoke about penalties very recently, manager of the Liverpool team, he happened to say that United has won the most penalties in the last 4 or 5 seasons. But Mazhar, is that untrue?
That is absolutely untrue. The official stat, and I read this on Twitter, and it was from like a legitimate stats recording, whatever, some page. They tweeted that since Ferguson left United, Liverpool has won more penalties than United till late, and only this season United has won one more penalty than Liverpool. So I feel like, and why I love it, and I'm sure all United fans love this, is because finally teams seem to be flustered by us. That fear factor seems to have come back. People are like, now, moment the hate starts, you know that, okay, we're in people's heads now and we're
You're
there.
relevant. You're suddenly relevant again.
Yeah, we're relevant again, and come on, man, let's face it, United fans love to be hated. That's too. I mean, that I know you guys hate that statement, not arrogant, just better, but we fucking love it, man. It's our favorite thing. It's our favorite line. So, I think they are a bit flustered, and I just think it's that. And well, to be fair, I like the fact that Klopp even is criticizing United, because it's been so quiet and so dead between United and Liverpool. It just never felt like a Northwest derby over recent times. So maybe this will add some fire to it.
One thing I'd like to mention is on what Klopp said. I read this again, I think on Twitter. I don't exactly remember, either Twitter or Instagram. Somewhere I saw this. It basically said that this season, all the penalties that United have got, if it's taken away from us, we'll still be second in the league. But if the amount of penalties that Liverpool have got, if it's taken away from them, I don't know exactly, but they wouldn't be in the top 6. So the penalties have actually favored Liverpool a lot more than it has United. But Caro, I would like to ask you that, considering like Klopp is saying things like this, and definitely United are a team that Liverpool or City are also keeping an eye on. And you guys have a lot of injuries. United have been playing well. We've been grinding out results. And Klopp comes out and says something like this. Do you feel like psychologically, I wouldn't say they fear us, but do you think now they're taking us like more seriously, and they might be a little worried about what's going to happen at Anfield, considering that you guys haven't lost like 67 games at Anfield in the league or something?
Fair enough, man. I think any team right now, even if United go to a Madrid, a Bayern, a Barca, a Juventus, any team need to show that. They don't need to show that respect, but they need to have that respect for United, because again, like I said, past 30, 60 days, they've been one of the better sides across Europe, and there's no two ways to that, right? So I think they're definitely on the radar. Teams are giving them a little bit more of respect, and it shows, right? Look at the way United are able to take out that 1-0, those 1-0, 2-1 victories. It's not going to happen if teams are not wary of you, if they're not scared, because it's evident that United is putting in minutes and minutes of pressure before they're getting that one detrimental goal, right? So I think Liverpool definitely wary of United, so as is any other side in the PL. Coming back to your pen claim, right? Again, I had that discussion with someone. I think it's a very incorrectly represented statistic, right? Because you spoke about how if Liverpool hadn't been given, if Liverpool's penalties were taken away, then they would be sixth. But I don't think Klopp is cribbing about that. I think Klopp is cribbing about the fact that a lot of penalties were not given to Liverpool. Case in mind, you look at the Southampton game where you've had, I think, Walker Peters. Walker Peters is literally flinging Mane, right? You look at one of those instances where Mane is ahead of Walker Peters and he's gone behind Walker Peters. There's no way that he can physically land up there if Walker Peters is not using some kind of force, right? It's not possible. You look at same game, you look at Mane trying to run over the keeper and the keeper's actually caught his leg. But you look at it the other way, Liverpool, I think it was Liverpool-Everton where Robertson gave away the penalty to Richarlison maybe, and Richarlison didn't even appeal. But it went up to VAR. So I think Klopp is talking about those decisions. But I think the one thing that Klopp and Robbo both have said, and they've said very correctly, is they don't have a problem with those penalties coming their way or going against them. But they want consistency because then they know what they have to do. And I think that's what Klopp is cribbing about. But with respect to United, I really think Klopp is just trying to do a Fergie. You guys have been at the beneficial end of it for the longest time, so I hope you guys are going to be at the receiving end of it. The bad side.
A referee recently said also. Some referee recently said.
Mark Lattenberg,
yeah, exactly.
And Fergie used to do this, and I think Klopp, with respect to where he is and how the opposition, how the other teams, the press, the media look at him, I think Klopp is probably closer to Fergie than any other manager in between. I'm not talking about success. I'm just talking about the way they're looked at by teams, players, media, fans alike, right? There is this weird kind of respect, but also this annoyance with Klopp that the guy knows how to get it done, but there is also, he's still a sweetheart at the end of the day. I enjoy the fact that he's getting salty and bitter at
you
the end of
Fergie was a sweetheart?
I was just coming to it.
No, but I hate Fergie, right? It's how Mazhar spoke about Hendo. He hated Hendo before, but now he hates him because he's such a good player. I hate Fergie more than any other manager in world football. But come on, man, you've got to know, like, banter aside, you've got to give the respect that the person deserves, right? Credit where due. So yeah, I think it's totally cool that Klopp is getting a little salty. It means that he understands the pressure is on, and he knows that he needs to be doing better. So I'm totally fine with all the whining. I'm sure he's got a plan.
So Shubham mentioned the psychological impact of United doing so well. I just from what we've seen of Klopp over the years, I don't think he ever trains or like coaches with a kind of nonchalance. He's always, you have to be on the top of your game. I don't care if you're playing Manchester United. I don't care if you're playing Bristol City. I don't care if you're playing in your homes. Do it well, do it right. And I think I said this in one of our previous football episodes also, that when Liverpool were not doing as well, and they started their resurgence to the top. This one thing which I never saw in Liverpool was that we are Liverpool, we are a big club. No, we want the result. We don't care what game it is. We want the result. And I spoke about it in terms of like slight annoyance with how certain Arsenal players go about, we are the Arsenal, we need to do X, Y, Z number of things. But you're a football team, win. And that's what I think Liverpool and Klopp's kind of instilled that into the side. So I don't think he is coaching them any different for the Liverpool versus United game. But yeah, and talking about, Mazhar said that the rivalry's been kind of drab and dead, but do you guys hope to revive it by answering some not so comfortable questions, I hope?
Let's go.
Okay. In case there were to be a player switch between the two teams, who's the one player you'd pick? Okay, on principle, would you agree to getting a player from Liverpool or say United from the opposing team?
Yeah,
on principle, would you? Yeah. Okay. See, Malu is a practical.
We've got 11 to 15 world beaters. I'm sure they don't mind, huh?
I would take Van Dijk any day, man. Any day, Van Dijk.
Okay. So just for the sake of making it slightly difficult, no Van Dijk, no Bruno. Now who? Now, do you still make a switch? Do you think you need to like?
Yeah.
I'll take Mane. I'll take Mane. I like him.
Fabregas said that he's the best
Salah,
player.
Man, I'm taking Salah. We don't have a right winger. give me anyone on the right side who's a world beater. Like Karo said, dude, Salah any day, and Salah's I like Salah. I'll be very honest. He's a good guy, so I don't mind him. Apart from the diving, but well, everyone does it now, so I'm going to forgive him for that.
What about you, Karo?
I enjoyed the everyone does it now. You had to put it in there. You know that.
I had to.
He
Before
he
I
made
got
the big
backed out for
statement.
it.
He
It's
made the big
nice.
statement and gave some relief also. He's not very smart with his words. Okay, Karo, kind of
Yeah.
slightly more difficult for you,
See, if
right?
you've taken
You
out
have a
Bruno,
squad. You have a squad
Yeah.
of, you said it, world beaters.
so
Who do
if
you
you've taken out Bruno, it becomes difficult. But in all honesty, I'm a big Wan-Bissaka fan. I don't think he would ever start over Trent, but the guy defensively is just so astute, right? Like he gets his job done. So, but maybe if Poole had someone like that in the reserves, a fringe player, that kind of thing.
Ouch.
So maybe I take
Fringe player.
Wan-Bissaka as a fringe player. I mean, because Liverpool are still attacking most games, so I would start a Neco or a Milner over him. But every now and then, we need to kind of sit back. So Bissaka get into the right wing back.
It's okay. You can keep dreaming about him now. It's okay. Eventually, he'll also start putting in balls
You
like
guys
Trent. You just watch.
You guys asked for Mane, right? So Mane and Salah, please. I can take Wan-Bissaka as my fringe player.
Of course. But no, the difference is Salah and Mane go into our starting lineup. So that's how desperate we are for one winger.
Yeah,
Alright.
but United have needed a right winger for the longest time.
Yeah.
I think it's been 5-6 seasons now. They've not had an out-and-out.
I think we've needed a right winger
What
since the
the heck
time
is that?
Ronaldo left. We had
Oh,
Valencia, who
Yeah.
I don't think was ever a right winger.
And then we had
after that,
Ashley Young. Ashley
Ashley
Young,
Young,
bro.
then Mata plays on the right. It's just like random players playing on the right. Man. We don't have a right winger since 2009.
So
It's just one slot out of 11 is by default just makeshift. The makeshift player is going to be put into that.
Yeah.
So Ashley Young didn't do well at right wing. Valencia did, so the natural progression was right back and move them on to other places. Okay, anyway, so the next question is, one player you want out from your club, like immediately. Do you want someone out of your club? Like, no. This kind of player does not work at a club. And I mean someone from the starting 11, hopefully. Because I think you guys can make a pick. It's again slightly difficult for
Starting
Karo
11,
to-
I can't think
Yeah.
of anyone.
I
Starting
can,
11,
yeah. Anthony Martial.
You want
I'm
him
done
out
with
of the
him.
club?
I'm done with him. Like I've reached like tipping point with him. If he doesn't perform against Liverpool, then I'm tired of him. He's very
What is
wasteful.
the Martial song? Isn't it something about how you all wasted a lot of money
50
and then you all
million
say,
down
"God,
the drain, Tony Marshall scores again. But no, so Karo,
on the drain, get him on a plane."
no, so the thing is, Karo, it's with Martial, the problem is he's on sometimes and otherwise he's just off. And I don't see
Yeah.
that energy or dedication or that fire in him to actually try something different. He stops running and all of that. And especially in the United team, Solskjaer's team, you have to run. That's the entire point. You press for the entire 90, you do things, I just don't see that United mentality and character that he had maybe when he had joined. I just see that tapering down. Yes, he scores goals. Yes, he's got worldly talents. They compared him to Henry. I mean,
because he
that was
scored,
literally.
he opened up his body and scored.
But
again.
not only that, there's so many
He's
things.
French,
Like
that's
you
it.
look at his clause also, his Ballon d'Or clause and stuff. So that's why, no, if I had to pick one guy out, then it would be Martial. I would still want to give him that time, but honestly,
More-
if
more
it means getting some, that's what I'm saying. He's still young. But the thing is,
What is he,
if we
24 or
have to bring
something?
in someone, yeah, he's like 24, man. So if we have to bring in someone for him, take that money and bring in someone is my only point. Because he's really tested my patience, man.
Mazhar seems to be done with Martial. Malu, you have anyone in mind? And again, of course, trying to keep it to
starting
the
11.
starting 11.
Yeah, starting
I'm
11,
saying it because
I find it difficult.
I'm saying it only because it's very easy to take an academy player who's not really up to the mark and say, okay,
Yeah, of
cash
course,
in.
of course. So starting 11, if Mino continues to be his agent, then Pogba out. Because I think that guy... now see, with Pogba also, I feel there's a lot of inconsistency. Yeah, there are some games he'll play like, oh my god, you can't have a better centre mid than him, and some games he does rubbish. So I don't know, like, and see, honestly, if his heart is not in the right place, if he doesn't want to be at the club, it's pointless having him around. So yeah, probably this summer Pogba goes out.
Just a fun one. I saw this meme which said, "Why does Pogba always play well in the black and white United kit?" Because he's still in Juventus. Oh dear Lord. Okay, Caro.
Caro
your
can't
turn.
leave anyone out. Yeah, I
No,
mean,
I
like,
actually have two candidates, right?
Wow.
But see, so here's the thing, right? I think Liverpool definitely need a new centre back, but I don't think you can just stockpile so many because you've got your main three plus you've got two youth academy kids, so you can't, even if Liverpool get another one, it will not be at a Van Dijk Gomez level. I mean, no one's at a Van Dijk level, but it won't be a Gomez Matip level, right? So I think Gomez probably won't go. He's English. You've got your registration rules in place and all of that jazz. So I actually think Gomez won't go. But if the injuries continue the way they are, you have to let Matip go, right? There's no two ways. Let Matip go. Get in. You need three top-notch centre backs to see out a season, and you need maybe two or three more that can kind of be fringe players. So probably Matip. However, and I'm going to throw out a really, really controversial one there. If right, this is a condition-based release, and I think you guys know what I'm coming to. But I think if Liverpool can get like an advance forward, bring in the advance forward, let Bobby go, or you push him down to the bench, because I mean, the game has evolved as such that you need your attacking three need to have goals between them. Your striker can't end the season with 10 goals. It's crazy. It's absurd. You can't. I mean, I understand that Bobby is the most detrimental to Liverpool having a good game. Bobby's like Bruno for Liverpool in a way, right? Not in terms of stats, but in terms of how easily he gets the fluidity and the ball moving. But man, if that final output is not there, and he ended last season in a slump and he started this season just 10, 12 games just being goddamn awful, right? So I think if Liverpool can figure, you've got a couple of world beaters out there. If Liverpool can maybe rope someone in, I understand this is all COVID and you can't expect a summer transfer and definitely not a big money Jan transfer, but play this season out and see what we can do.
Caro, it was a good save that you said he is like Bruno, but not in terms of stats, because I would have so many stats coming at you right now. Right?
No, I saw you guys. I said he's like Bruno.
You don't take his name in the same breath with Bruno. At least in terms of stats, you don't do that.
I apologize for that. I think this is the first time though ever that you throw Liverpool and United fans together and they're both kind of trying to downplay their chances. I don't think this would have happened in the recent past. I mean, I don't mean like in the last 2 years, but before that, I don't think there's any chance that a United and Liverpool fan are getting together and kind of downplaying their chances. If we lose, it's okay, not a big problem.
Hey, no. We are not okay with losing, by the way. No chance.
Please,
We're going to come at you. We're going to come at you, man.
Please, I'm hoping. I think the only way Liverpool can beat United is if United come at Liverpool. If they sit back, there's no chance Liverpool are winning.
No, man. You will put in one cross and there we'll see Harry Maguire going. I'm telling you.
See, you criticize Harry Maguire as much as you want, but I think the guy he's an absolute boss when it comes to set pieces, man. Like set pieces and set plays and crosses. I think he's solid.
No, he's fantastic. He's been one of our best players this season. I'm not going to deny that. I just like taking the piss out of our captain sometimes. It's fun.
Okay, quick one. You don't get time to make your justifications, all right? You do not get the time to make your justifications. One legend from the other team who you absolutely have no respect for. Okay, no respect for is pushing it a bit, but you wouldn't take them at your team. That kind. You wouldn't take X player from the other team in your starting 11.
Suarez.
Oh no, buddy. As much as the antics are not appreciated, he's one guy I would absolutely, in his prime, kill to have in my side. Mazhar.
But you said no justification, so I'm not giving justification.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Mazhar, your pick.
Steven Gerrard.
Oh. Okay. I can make a justification for that one, but it's fine. Caro, your turn.
Roy Keane, man.
I know the justification for this. It's very clearly from what Mazhar said. But Karo, we have a recurring theme in our podcast. Whenever we have a guest on, we always have a prediction to make. What is your
Okay.
prediction for the game tomorrow?
Let me anger you guys a little. 3-1 Liverpool.
We're never inviting you again on this podcast. You're out now. I will quickly give in my prediction. I think it's going to be 1-1.
Maz.
Safe.
3-0. 3-0 United.
And on that obnoxious note, I'd like to take everyone's leave. Please follow our page for all of our content. You can follow us. Links in the description will be below. And with that, thank you so much, Karo, for joining us today. Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, Mazhar.
Me guys.
Bye-bye.